Hey everybody, so today I'm going to be talking about Doctor Who. I have a list over here, so if you see me looking over there, that's what that is about. Before I get started, I'd just like to say that I made an Instagram and a TikTok. Well, I actually already had an Instagram and a TikTok, I just have reformatted them to be linked to this, so there's links in the thing on my channel that says links. Some people have already found it. I don't have any videos or posts on either, but I'm hoping to eventually post some stuff there. I don't think it's gonna be exclusively relaxing kind of content. It might just be things I find interesting. But I don't know. People have asked a lot about where should they see my art, and I think if I have an Instagram or something for that, that would make it a lot easier. So feel free to go and, follow those if you're interested in seeing other forms of content that I make. And also, I have my memberships. I mention that all the time. Link in the description, also in the same link thing on my profile. So if you're interested in that, feel free to sign up for it. You know what I'm trying to say. But I am going to be talking about my favorite episodes of Doctor Who, but in the interest of time, I can't just list them all, because I would probably just be listing all of the episodes ever made. So I took one from each season, some seasons up to, and I put them on a list, because that's still 41 things, so still a lot. There's only one thing, is the last season, season 26 of classic Doctor Who, I haven't watched yet. I'm kind of putting it off, because I know that once I finish it, it'll be well, now I'm all done, I don't have anything else to do. So it's I don't want to watch it, but I do want to watch it, I want to see it. So I don't have anything for that one, but I have something for every other season, and I'll just say it and talk a little bit about it. Pretty casual format video, but I just love talking about Doctor Who, and it seems like some of you really love listening to me talk about Doctor Who, so it's perfect. So to get started, there's also, sorry, another little tangent here, probably some pretty unpopular opinions on here for you might think, oh, this season definitely gonna have this choice, and then it doesn't. If you're a lunatic like I am, and you have devoted too much of your life to this show, don't be upset with me, please. These are just my opinions. And this is definitely not a viewing guide, because some of these episodes don't actually have anything to do with the overarching plot of the show. So if you just watched these ones, you wouldn't really know what was happening a lot of the time. And I keep saying episodes, but they are actually stories, because the classic show would have multiple episodes into one story. So, we'll start. My first one for season 1 from 1963 is The Keys of Marinus, but that was 4 or 6 stories, or episodes, in one story. So, you know what I'm saying. I'm saying what my favorite story is, not my favorite episode. But anyway, the first one, Keys of Marinus, it was kind of a hard choice with the first season, because you have the classic, the very first, the unearthly child, sorry, and then the Daleks, and there's so many good stories in the first season because it's the foundations, but the Keys of Marinus just really stands out to me. It's one that I remember better because it's been years since I watched this first season of Doctor Who, and that one really just I'm sorry, this crow is bothering me. That's the one that really sticks out in my head. I think the visuals were really good for it, for the time especially. Same with the one that they get shrinked down. I can't remember what that's called. I think it's in season 2, though. But yeah, that one also has really good visuals. And it's just interesting to see what this like low budget show from the 60s looked like back then. And there's also a good story with the Keys of Marinus, but it's kind of morally in the end, it's a little odd, the decisions they make. Because it's this guy that, like, I think he's mind controlling a group of people to be like workers for him, and like the main characters just help him get his power over them back. And it's like, you would think that they would have the opposite agenda because they're supposed to be the good guys, but whatever. I think it's still a fun story, and it has a lot of good story beats. It's not one that drags too much, in my opinion. Some of the original ones do drag a lot, but I feel like that one has a good amount of stuff happening. I need to go a little faster. The Time Meddler is my pick for season 2. This is a very popular choice, I think, for season 2. People might choose The Chase more, but I really like The Time Meddler because it introduces a new character that is a Time Lord, the alien species that the Doctor is. That is the monk, and he's like going through time changing things, so they have to stop him. And there's not really any other stories like it, you know? It's very unique. And it's another one that it doesn't really get boring. I think it's only 4 parts. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that is my pick for season 2. My pick for season 3 is The Gunfighters. This one's probably very unpopular. I think people get really annoyed by The Gunfighters, but I like it. I think it's fun. It's a fun setting. They don't really go to America a ton in Doctor Who, you know? And as an American, I got a soft spot in my heart for whenever they do. The Gunfighters is a Western. I like Westerns. I'm American. And there's this song that plays like all the time about the Last Chance Saloon, and that's what people find really annoying, is the song that plays constantly, but I think it's kind of a bop. I kind of like it, and it's funny when Steven sings it in Dodo, so don't sue me. I think it's fun. Season 4. I haven't seen a lot of season 4 because most of it doesn't exist anymore, but I have seen half of the faceless ones. I've seen the first 3 episodes, and they're very good. I have to watch the second 3 still, but so far it's really good. It's an animated reconstruction because they don't have the original episodes, but it is like, I don't want to just say good all the time, but it's an interesting story about this group of aliens kind of taking advantage of the stupidity of the youth and abducting them. And it's at an airport. I like the airport stories. I don't think I have any other airport stories on here, but there's a lot of stories that take place at airports, and I think generally they're pretty good. It's an interesting setting for a sci-fi TV show. Keep this going. It wants to turn off because I don't have it plugged in, so I gotta keep it on. My season 5 pick is The Enemy of the World. Oh, and also we're at the second Doctor now. Season 4 is the start of the second Doctor, so the first 3 were the first Doctor. Now we're at the second. The Enemy of the World is it's interesting. Like, that's a lot of these old ones. You kind of have to look at it and be like, they made some choices here. They definitely had an idea and they went for it. In The Enemy of the World, there is this evil billionaire. It takes place in 2018 or something. I don't know. It's like back then it was the way future, but it's already past now. There's this evil billionaire named Ramon Salamander who's trying to take over the world, and he looks exactly like the Doctor. And so the Doctor shows up and people think he's Ramon Salamander, and it's like a whole hijinks happen, you know. And this was a missing episode, but they found them in 2013, so it is the most recent that anybody has found Doctor Who episodes. Which also makes them a little interesting. I think people like them more because they were found recently, and so people are like, wow, it's so unique and so cool and so special because we didn't have it before, you know? So yeah, there's that one. My season 6 pick, I have 2 because really my favorite is The Mind Robber. I love The Mind Robber. It's this fantasy setting where they're in the world of fiction, and so anything can be real and anything can be fake, and like it's such a unique setting. But I think I also really like the War Games. Everybody really likes the War Games because it's a classic. I think the War Games is too long though. It's 8 parts or 10 parts. I don't even remember. It's so many episodes. I think it drags on a bit towards the middle. I think it could have been shorter. So that's why it's not my favorite, because The Mind Robber is so good. But I feel like I would get flamed for saying I don't like the War Games. I do like the War Games. They're just a little long. But the War Games is the last story in the season, and it's the last story for the second Doctor. So then you get into season 7 is the third Doctor, one of my favorites. Let's go. These were so hard to choose because I love the third Doctor so much. But for season 7, my choice for best episode was Inferno. That's a popular choice, I think, but it was pretty close with Spearhead from Space. That's a really good episode in my opinion too. I just think Inferno, because it's the end of the season versus the beginning of the season, you have more fleshed out characters and everything. And I mean, you can't really say, oh, they're acting more like themselves, because that's kind of the entire point of Inferno, is it's this alternate universe where things are really different and the people are really different. But since you have the built-up idea of who these characters are, it works, you know? The first time I watched Inferno, it was the first third Doctor story I really sat and watched all the way through. So I didn't know the Brigadier that well. I didn't know Liz Shaw that well. So I was like, who are these people? Why is he mad at them? But if you do watch the whole season and you know about these characters, it's a really good story. And people really like that story, so that's a popular opinion. My season 8 choice is the Demons. I don't actually ever know how you're supposed to say it because it's spelled the Daemons, but like, is it demons or is it like the Daemons? I don't know. This is one of my favorite stories ever, though. Like, it's so good. It is like horror kind of, fantasy kind of. It has the Master, so like that's already great. It's a cool setting. You get Sergeant Benton and Captain Yates get like civilian clothes in this episode, which is not a major thing, but I really like the unit team, and to see them like not in their military gear is like fun, you know? It's like, oh, they get to be people this episode. So I like the Demons. When I watched it and I saw them in like people clothes, I was like, this is the best episode ever. I get to feel like they're real people. I get to feel like they're not just military people. And it's entertaining. I don't feel like it drags too much. That's the main drawback from a lot of classic episodes, is that they drag a lot. But I don't think that one does. Then for season 9's kind of a weak season in my opinion. There's not that many episodes that I'm like crazy about, but I put the Sea Devils because it introduces a monster that is long running. It's a unique setting. It had I think a lot of money was spent on it to get footage like on the water and everything, because it's the ocean. So it's unique. It's visually pretty pleasing, but I don't remember too many details from it because it's not from like a super amazing season, in my opinion. Season 10, I don't think this comes as a surprise to anybody. The Three Doctors is my choice. It is the first anniversary special that they had for Doctor Who, so it has the first it has the first three Doctors, but William Hartnell, that played the first Doctor, was very sick, so he couldn't like be running around like the other two, so he's like in a little box on a screen. He's like your little YouTube video game, like he's up there. No, he just talks to them through a TV sometimes, but he was there for it, so it was the first anniversary episode, and it's they go up against a very cool enemy named Omega, and I like when they have things that have to do with the Time Lords in episodes, because you don't really see that a ton in modern series since, you know, they're all dead, but back then they weren't, so you would sometimes see them. I feel like they add a lot to the lore and everything. Then I have season 11, Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Probably not the most popular pick. I feel like, well, honestly, I don't know, because I really like Invasion of the Dinosaurs, and I do think it's a good episode, but I feel like some people might like Planet of the Spiders more, but I don't think Planet of the Spiders is that good. It's just the last episode for the Third Doctor, or story for the Third Doctor, so people probably like it because of that, but I really don't think Planet of the Spiders is that good. I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs is very good. It's another one that you get unit people involved in, so you get Benton and Yates and everything, and there's like a bit of a conspiracy. It has some good political undertones. I don't want to spoil episodes because people maybe would watch them, but it also, the first episode is in black and white because they lost the colored footage, I think. So the very first episode of the story is black and white, and then the rest is in color. And the dinosaurs look really goofy, but I think that adds to the fun, you know? So I think it's a fun episode. It's fun. You get unit people. It made me cry a little bit towards the end there because, like, I'm not, I don't know how to explain this. As a joke, I like to think, like, oh my god, Benton and Yates together forever. They're in love. They're not in love. I just think it's really funny, because it's like this old show that nobody watches. But Invasion of the Dinosaurs really bummed me out because it kind of destroyed that for me and shattered my heart into a million pieces. My next pick is for season 12, and in season 12 we get the fourth Doctor. So he's kind of the most popular of the classic Doctors, and I could see why. He's pretty good. He has a lot of seasons. I have for season 12 Genesis of the Daleks. Probably not surprising to anybody who watched season 12. Pretty classic. It's got like some reference, like very referenced in the show things, very important historical moments for the show. You have the do I have the right? Yeah. So it's like the Daleks are this long-standing villain of the Doctor, and he goes back in time to when they were invented and has the ability to wipe them out entirely before they do anything wrong. And he's like, do I have the right to do that? Or is that morally not good because they never actually did anything wrong yet? It's like the baby Hitler thing. People are like, if you went back in time to kill baby Hitler, like, could you do it? It's kind of that. Really good story, really classic story. The season 13 story I chose was The Brain of Morbius. Trigger warning for Morbius. I'm a little late. Morbius talk. Anyway, it's not the same Morbius as the vampire. It's this gigantic Frankenstein creature that has a brain in a jar, and it's very smart, because it was like a ancient Time Lord that was very intelligent, and he wants to do evil. So the Doctor has to stop him. But this is where you meet the Sisterhood of Karn, which is like, they come in a lot later, even in the newer show. So it establishes some important lore details, and it's entertaining. So it's a good episode. I feel like I'm really bad at convincing people that things are good or justifying my decisions. I do like all these episodes a lot, and it's hard to choose some of them. I just don't know how to word my feelings appropriately. For season 14, I have The Hand of Fear. I really liked The Hand of Fear. I think it's a classic. I think it's generally liked. I don't know though. But you have this like rock hand, and it's like mind control, and then it's like an alien, and it's so cool, so fun. And there's like a big explosion, if I remember correctly, which looked cool, you know, sucker for a cool effect. Then I have the season 15, The Sunmakers. I don't think this is the most popular choice for season 15, but I can tell you what the least popular choice for season 15 is: The Underworld, for sure. People do not like Underworld, but The Sunmakers comes right before Underworld, and it is about this like planet. I think it might even be Pluto. I don't think it's like a faraway alien planet. That is basically just this working planet. Everybody works all the time, and there's like the higher ups, and they like rise up and revolt against the capitalists. You know, totally not political. The classic show was not political ever. And then the like leading capitalist guy turns into a little parasite worm. But yeah, there weren't politics in the classic show. There weren't any politics in the classic show. For season 16, probably, I think people would think that the most liked one, or maybe the most liked one, is the Pirate Planet, but my favorite one is the Ribos Operation, which is, I think people think it's boring. I like the Ribos Operation. You meet the super cool like astrologist. There's this cool setting of like catacombs that they're in. It's like a heist sort of thing. There's like this guy, and oh my gosh, it's I'm so bad at explaining things. Just watch it. Just watch the whole classic show. I'm sure you have plenty of time for 26 seasons of TV. Yeah, click off of this video. You don't need to watch this. Go on whatever you watch Doctor Who on. I don't know what other countries watch Doctor Who on, but if you're in America, get a BritBox subscription and watch classic Doctor Who right now. Anyway, season 17, this one's definitely the popular choice, is The City of Death. It was written by Douglas Adams, who, if you don't know, is a sci-fi author, and it's a very good episode, very entertaining, very funny. It has a lot more comedy than like other episodes do. City of Death takes place in France. There's an art collecting guy. There's a whole scheme with like time travel. A dude gets punched. It's a good story, and it has interesting effects because there's like this scene at the start where it's like an alien planet with a spaceship, and I saw it and I was like, wow, that feels really high budget for classic Doctor Who. I don't know how much they actually spent on it, but it felt high budget. But actually, my real favorite episode from season 17 is Horns of Nimon. Horns of the Nimon. Best episode ever made, actually. I have a sticker on my water bottle for it that says, "How many Nimon have you seen today?" Because it's such a great episode. or story. So if you don't watch any of these, you should totally watch that one because it's great. I'm not being sarcastic at all. Okay. Season 18, I wrote State of Decay. State of Decay is a great episode. I don't think there's much to say about it. It's just really good. I'm kind of like, I've lost my train of thought, so I just think I have to move on. But I do like State of Decay. Good episode. 19, I wrote Castrovalva. Yeah. Castrovalva, actually, this is the first season for the 5th Doctor, and Castrovalva is the first story for the 5th Doctor. I think it's the first one on the list I have that is a first story for an actor, which I like regeneration stories. I don't think any of them are my favorites, I guess, for their whole seasons, besides Castrovalva. I think Castrovalva is a fun setting. You have like this MC Escher inspired stairs sequence in it. It's a fun mystery. It's a fun, it's goofy. It's a goofy, lighthearted episode that has, continuity with the episodes around it. Which I think that makes it really entertaining. I don't need to justify myself. Okay, season 20, I was stuck between two. I could not pick. I love Modern Undead because it brings back the Brigadier, and the Brigadier is like my favorite character ever. So he comes back and I'm like, oh my god, the Brigadier, yay, you're here. And it's also just a really entertaining story, but I kind of hate Turlo. Like, people think Turlo is so much better than Adric. They're wrong. I like Adric. He's smart. He's fun. He's misunderstood. And Turlo is just whiny and mean. And he gets away with too much stuff. And he's annoying. So, people think Turlo's better than Adric. Catch these hands, because Adric is way better, and Adric deserves better, because people hate on him way too much. That is my hot take. The other episode that I really liked that season 20, is Enlightenment. It's about these immortal beings that are going on a race because they're bored. And they have these pirate ships in space. Very pretty episode. Turlo still annoys me in it though. Okay. Season 21, I wrote Caves of Androzani. I don't think that's what am I trying to say? I don't think that's surprising to anybody, because that is commonly considered one of the best stories ever in Doctor Who. It's the last story for the 5th Doctor, so it's the one where he dies, so to speak, and it's action-packed. You get this really interesting looking guy there with a mask and everything, and it's like, that's strange. Great episode, great story. Season 22, I chose Vengeance on Varos. People say that's the best story for the 6th Doctor. They're right. The other ones are really and I don't even not like the 6th Doctor. They're just okay, they're kind of mid. But Vengeance on Varos is pretty good. It's action packed. He pushes a guy into a vat of acid. What more is there to want? And it's definitely better than the Twin Dilemma, so I can't complain. Then you have the season 23, but The Ultimate Foe. I may be controversial for this, but I'm not a huge fan of the Trial of a Time Lord arc. That whole season 23, it's okay. So this is the end of it, because I was cheering that it was over. And then I could move on to the 7th Doctor. So this is the last story for the 6th Doctor, but he doesn't have an official, ending, because they didn't know that it was going to be his last season, because he got fired. So then we go to season 24. This is with the 7th Doctor, and controversial take again, I chose Paradise Towers as my favorite story. Hate me if you want, but it's a good story, and it has some strong female characters in it, so I can't complain there. We have this bad guy who is literally just Hitler. That happened a lot in these later seasons of classic Doctor Who, where the villain was just basically Hitler, which is good that it was the villain, you know, because sometimes in their episodes, the characters that they side with are not the most morally good. Like, the 3rd Doctor's all like, I'm friends with Mao Zedong. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So yeah, it's good that the villain is the Hitler caricature and not the good guys, but yeah, he turns into like this zombie guy, and it's weird. There's these old ladies that are like cannibals, but they are so fashionable. I would love to be one of those cannibal old ladies. Then I have for season 25, The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. I love The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. There's a great song that it's similar to, I think, Gunfighters, where they play the song a lot, but I like it. I think it's fun. Some people probably would get annoyed by it, but I think it's fun. And if you hate fun, you probably shouldn't watch Doctor Who. But great story about a carnival. There's clowns and stuff, so if you don't like clowns, maybe it's not for you. But it looks interesting, and then there's like gods in it, so it really ramps up towards the end there. Season 26, I don't have anything for because I didn't watch it yet, but I feel like I'm probably gonna like Battlefield, because I think the Brigadier comes back in Battlefield, so that's immediately a million points in my book. I love the Brigadier. So yeah. Then the 8th Doctor, I haven't listened to any audios, so I just kind of have to say that the movie's my favorite for him because that's all there is for him. So the movie, it's fun. It's not a good movie. It's a fun, bad movie, but it's entertaining enough. I can watch it. I could sit there and watch it and not go on my phone. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need. Then we get into the modern show. So we have season 1, or I think they're series in the modern show. Series 1, which is with Christopher Eccleston as the 9th Doctor. We have my favorite episode as Dalek. I don't think that's surprising. It is a like reintroduction to the classic enemy because it's the start of a new era. It has some good characterization for our main characters. You learn more about him. It's all around good episode. Quality. Top quality. Series 2. I have, this is with the 10th Doctor now, David Tennant. So I put 2-parter, The Impossible Planet and Satan Pit. I might be a little controversial here. David Tennant's a great actor, and he does a great job playing the Doctor, but his episodes generally aren't my favorite. Like, I was trying to look at my list so that I could make it concise enough, and I was like, I guess these are my favorites from him, but I don't think they're even that much better than the other ones. And not that the other ones are bad, they're just like, when I'm going to watch Doctor Who, they're not the ones I'm clicking on, you know? They're just like, okay, whatever. So The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit is good. It's a horror kind of theme, which I think there's a trend where I just like the scarier episodes, especially with the newer series you'll find. So it works with that. It's good, but it's not my favorite. Season 20, I have a bulleted list, so it says 29. Series 3, I have Human Nature and the Family of Blood. Unsurprising, since these are based off of a book that was written for the 7th Doctor, so they're very classic series coded. But it's interesting He turns into a human, basically, and doesn't have any of his memories. It's a little bit sad because they treat Martha really badly, and I like Martha, and she gets treated like dirt all the time, especially in Human Nature Family of Blood. But overall, good story, good result, ending. It's wrapped up, a nice little present. And then series 4, I put Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead, another two-parter. Yeah, I think that's a common choice. Really great stories, really solid acting, really tugs at your heartstrings, plot twists that you don't see coming. You're starting it and you're like, who's this little girl? Why do I care about her? And then you're finishing it and you're like, oh my god. So, yeah, great story, great episodes, introduces some very important characters later on. Then we have series 5. This is the start of Matt Smith's tenure, the 11th Doctor. So I put the Pandorica opens the Big Bang. This is the end of his first season. He's another one that I like his episodes, but they're not the ones that I'm choosing to watch most of the time. So yeah, it's good, but it's not my favorite. Okay. For series 6, I have my favorite episode as the Doctor's Wife. It's got the horror elements. That's really the main thing for me, is that it's kind of spooky, scary, because overall it's a standalone episode, it doesn't take away from other episodes around it. It maybe adds a little bit, but it doesn't change too much about the overarching story. It's just an interesting horror story. Then I have for series 7, not gonna mess it up that time, the Day of the Doctor. So that is the 50th anniversary special. So the second time we have an anniversary special on the list. This one's for 50 years of Doctor Who. It brings back David Tennant, and it brings in John Hurt to be a extra. And then I have CGI versions of the older ones, I think. But it's an entertaining story, and it feels like a anniversary, So can't complain there. Then we get into Peter Capaldi. Let's go. So, series 8 with Peter Capaldi. My favorite story is Flatline. I'm an artist. I don't know what you would expect. Flatline, not that scary, but the original script for Flatline, terrifying. They had to dumb it down because it's a family show, but it's got those sweet, sweet, scary elements that I love. And it's art inspired, so how can I not? Flatline's it's great. It's great story. Highly recommend. Definitely one of my favorites. Then, season 9, series 9. I think I'm gonna pick Sleep No More. I think that's my favorite. No. Just like everybody else, my favorite is Heaven Sent. Because obviously, Heaven Sent is a masterpiece. It is the best thing Doctor Who has ever made. Doctor Who's never going to make an episode better than Heaven Sent. It's an in-depth character study of the Doctor. There's hardly any other characters in it. It's beautiful. It's heartfelt. He just lost the one thing he loves. I could go on. I could probably film an entire hour-long video just about Heaven Sent because it's such a great episode. I could just recite Heaven Sent word for word for a video, and that would be it. Yeah. Honestly, if you were just gonna be like, let me hear what she has to say, and maybe I'll try out the show. Don't try out the show with Heaven Sent because it's not good if you don't have all the build up to it, but just start the show and then think about it in the back of your head. Think about how, wow, this show's really good. I wonder how Heaven Sent could be better. And then you get there and you're like, oh eyes are opened. Like, wow, this is amazing. So, watch Heaven Sent. Series 10. Man, Peter Capaldi just had banger after banger after banger. I have World Enough in Time, The Doctor Falls, another two-parter. It's the season finale of season 10, and it is just beautiful. It's perfect. It's perfect. So season 10 overall, probably my favorite season overall. I love Bill, I love Nardole, I love the Doctor, I love Missy. So you get all of those characters in there together, and it's just beautiful. They make a masterpiece together. There's so many things happening outside right now, but it's so good, so beautiful. Then we get into the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, with series 11, and I would say my favorite episode from her series is The Witchfinders, from series 11 I mean, The Witchfinders. It's an interesting little like Salem witch trials kind of romp, and it has Alan Cumming in it as King Charles, so I love that. I don't know, it's my favorite from that season, but it's not my favorite of hers overall. My favorite of hers overall is from her series 12, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. I was like fumbling over my words there. Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. I think that's a great standalone episode. It has just like a fun alien that comes in, you know, quick resolve the problem, and you get this like historical Nikola Tesla versus Benjamin Franklin feud. Fun, American. Yeah, great episode. Then we have series 13, and my favorite, this one I had to kind of flub a little because I don't remember Flux, which was series 13. That was the overall story. So people say they like Village of the Angels, and I remember a little bit from Village of the Angels, so I'm just gonna say that's my favorite because that's the only one I remember anything from. So we'll just go with that. Next, I did separate the specials for the 60th anniversary, which I didn't separate the specials for any of the other ones before. I just included them in the previous season. But I would think the specials would be included in the season after for the 60th, because that's kind of just how it went. So I'm just separating them into their own. So we have the 60th anniversary specials. My favorite is Wild Blue Yonder. And these are with the 14th Doctor. It's got those scary bits that I love, so I had to pick it. I also really didn't like the Star Beast and the Giggle. Sue me. No, Patrick Harris did a good job in the Giggle, but other than that, it was like, okay, kind of mid. Like, goofy in a bad way, where it was like, they meant for it to be serious sometimes, and then it, like, there were some goofy in a good way bits in the Giggle, but the Star Beast was like goofy in a bad way, where it's like they meant for this to be serious and taken seriously, and I was like, I'm not taking this seriously. But the Giggle was definitely the better of those two, than the Star Beast. But Wild Blue Yonder, I think, was up there. Like, that was actually genuinely good. I liked it. But those three specials did kind of have me a little worried for the next season. I was like, oh, if this is what the writing is like, yikes. But next season, well, now they get into like a whole thing. This is technically now season 1 of Doctor Who, of the new Doctor Who that's on Disney+. So season 1 with the 15th Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, sorry. I can't pick a favorite because I like this season so much. So I have 73 Yards, Dot and Bogle, and Rogue. 73 Yards, scary, like ominous. It's that psychological kind of thriller that so good, like gets in your head. Dot and Bubble, it was like presented like it was going to be one thing, and then you watch it and it's a totally different thing. So it really caught you off guard, and it was just like a really good message. And then Rogue, just, it felt like a return to the roots of classic Doctor Who for me. Like, it felt like the story beats, it was well timed, it didn't lag. So, I mean, not classic Doctor Who because a lot of those lagged, but it was a good written story. So, I can't pick between those three. They're my favorite. Boom is also really good. I honestly, that's kind of it. Devil's Court is also really good. So, it's hard to choose, but season 1 is good. And that is all of Doctor Who that's out right now. I did kind of rush through it. I just am a fast talker generally, and I do try to slow down a lot for these videos, but I'm not good at it. So, but I think some people like the faster, like fast-paced ASMR stuff. So maybe it's not wrong or bad, it's just like how it is. But I hope it was enjoyable enough to just hear me talk for so long. Thank you for watching if you made it this far, and I hope you enjoy the video. I think I already said that. If you did, maybe like it or comment it on it or subscribe or something, like how everybody always, I'm begging you here, please, please. Okay, I'm goofy. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day, have a nice week. I will see you tomorrow with my other video.